Hey everyone, I'm Chris and this is the top 10 mistakes I've seen players, both beginners and experienced, fall into while playing Star Wars Unlimited. Let's go through them and talk about which is the correct course of action in each case. This is one of the most common mistakes made by players new to the game, using cards like Surprise Strike to attack with exhausted units. According to Rule 630B, only one unit may attack at a time, and only ready units may perform an attack, unless otherwise specified. These restrictions apply even if the attack is prompted by another ability. Take note that abilities of cards like Frontline Shuttle are the exception, since it explicitly specifies that the selected unit can be an exhausted one. Here's one of the first mistakes new players make: not making use of the abilities of their exhausted units. According to Rule 643B, if an action ability cost uses the exhaust icon, it means the card with the ability must exhaust in order to use the ability. If the cost does not use the icon, the card may use the ability whether it is ready or exhausted. So yes, you can use abilities like the second one on Fire Spray, even if the unit is exhausted. I guess we've all seen this happening at some point. A player using an ability that allows you to divide damage, like the one found on Emperor Palpatine, in order to pop a shield off a unit and damage the unit itself. This of course is incorrect, since all damage from such abilities is applied at the same time, and a shield token prevents all damage that would be dealt to the attached unit from a single source. The exception here are abilities of cards like Maximum Firepower, that specifies that the second instance of damage is applied after the first part of the ability is resolved. Here's another one revolving around shields: attacking a shielded unit with a unit that has the Overwhelm keyword and dealing excess damage to the opponent's base. Now, since a shield token prevents all damage that would be dealt to the unit and not just the damage equal to its HP, there is actually zero excess damage to deal to the base. I'll be honest with you, the first couple of times I played Resupply, I also got this wrong and put it into play as a ready resource. I had no idea about Rule 177 that specifies that if an ability instructs a player to put a card into play as a resource, the card is placed face down and exhausted in that player's resource zone unless otherwise specified. The card that actually made me realize that something was off with the way I played Resupply was Super Laser Technician, which explicitly specifies that you ready the resource after putting it into play. Now, even experienced players tend to do this, choosing the order of resolving the ability of an event and the triggered when you play an event ability. According to Rule 336, if a triggered ability has a triggering condition when you play an event, the event ability must be resolved as completely as possible before resolving the triggered ability. This means that if, for example, you have Bosk on your ground arena and you play Daring Raid, you have to deal the damage of Daring Raid before that of Bosk's ability. They don't resolve simultaneously, so you don't get to choose the order. I've had quite a few opponents resolve abilities that require a unit to complete an attack in order to be triggered, like the one found on Ezra, even though their unit didn't survive the combat. To get this right, we have to take a look at the steps involved in attacking with a unit. First, we declare the attack. Then, we deal combat damage, and once combat damage is dealt, if a unit has no remaining HP, it is defeated immediately. As the last step, we complete the attack. Now it's during this last step that when this unit completes an attack abilities are triggered, so if the unit gets defeated in the previous step, the ability will actually never trigger. Some players think that they have to target units with a Sentinel keyword with abilities, instead of picking whatever valid target they want. This is incorrect, since according to Rule 7511, Sentinel is a keyword whose effect is the same as a constant ability. Units in this arena can't attack your non-Sentinel units or your base. As you can see, this only affects attacks with units, and there's nothing forcing you to pick the Sentinel unit as the target of an ability over any other unit in play. I know I've gone in depth on this in one of my previous uploads, but I couldn't leave it out of the top 10. I've seen a lot of opponents trying to ready a unit I've exhausted with no good to me dead by using a card like Keep Fighting. One of the golden rules of Star Wars Unlimited applies here. Restrictions override permissions. In case of a conflict between a restrictive ability and a permissive ability, the restriction takes precedence. In this case, the ability of No Good to Me Dead is a restrictive one, so the exhausted unit can't ready by any permissive ability during the round No Good to Me Dead was played. Before we move on to our number 1, if you like this kind of content, don't forget to show your support for the channel by hitting the like button and subscribing, it will be much appreciated. I saved this one for the top spot because it's the one that I personally find the most game-breaking mistake out there, since it can very easily turn the tides if it goes unnoticed during a match. Using ambush to ready a unit and attack your opponent's base. According to rule 755A, ambush is a keyword whose effect is the same as a triggered ability. When played, if there is an enemy unit that this unit can attack, this unit may ready and attack that enemy unit. This is not a case of do as much as you can. The existence of a unit that your unit can attack is a requirement, and you have to attack that unit. You can't pick your opponent's base as a target of the attack. I think the lack of helper text on hyperspace cards and certain cards with the ambush keyword doesn't really help with this one. I really do hope in future sets helper text will always be there instead of all that white space. Now, we all make mistakes, there's nothing wrong about it, that's how we learn after all. If you are interested in more in-depth analysis on how to correctly resolve various scenarios, make sure to check out my Star Wars Unlimited Clarified playlist. I'm pretty sure you'll find plenty of interesting things in there. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one.